Okay, check it out. This is another Shooting with Saturn video. Please take the time to watch it. And I spend a lot of time with my people, you know, like Ian, and we try to come up with interesting topics that you guys want to talk about. So I'm hoping I come up with one today. One of the biggest parts of wrestling that most wrestling fans don't know is traveling. You spend a god-awful amount of time in a rent-a-car. So the people you travel with are extremely important. And I'm going to tell you the 5 best groups of people that I traveled with and probably why they were. And I'll probably throw in a couple of shitty groups that I would never get in the car with again. Okay, so this is how the traveling worked 99% of the time. 3 people to a car, because most wrestlers are big giant men. So you force 4 of them in the car, there's not really room, and you gotta stick their bags in. So you usually stick the 3 people to the car, and out of habit or whatever the reason, you go with the same people usually. You find something that works, and you stick with it. Very rarely did I ride with somebody out of one of my groups. And my 5th best group is John Cronus
Gotta go.
and Taz.
Because I'm Taz.
John I rode with more than anyone, all through Memphis and stuff, when we would drive a couple thousand miles a week in Memphis, you know, and always with somebody else. John and Taz, that combination, people who don't know Taz have no idea how fucking funny he is. He would get me laughing my ass off, and any entertainment on the ride makes it better. One time we got pulled over on the New Jersey Turnpike for speeding. John was driving. The cop gave John a ticket. Within 10 feet, we got pulled over again for John speeding, and the cop gave him another ticket. Just like one time, driving down the New Jersey Turnpike, we went over some bump, and there was a big little hop in the car, and out of the back seat, Taz always sat in the back, and me and John sat in the front. I hear Taz go, "Ooh, I feel like Cousin Cooter." Anybody who doesn't know that, that's a Dukes of Hazzard joke. And just to hear Taz say that, every time somebody mentions Taz, that's what I think of. Him going, "Ooh, I feel like Cousin Cooter back here." Most of the learning you do in wrestling, when you're first starting out and stuff, you do in the car. Because you talk about matches, talk about things that happen. You develop friendships. One of the best friends makes me one of the luckiest people alive to ever have known is Raven. He's on this list, but he should be number 1. Just our personalities sometimes are so fire and water, or oil and water, that he would make me nuts and I'd want to kill him. You just got to pick the good people to travel with, and every wrestler has their traveling buddies that they travel with, because that's what you do. Okay, we're going to take a quick break to me talking about the best wrestling digital card game online. Our sponsor, Woo, wrestlingorganization.online. You get to be the promoter, so you run the whole fucking show. You book the arena, you book the talent, you book the town. I mean, you get to do all the behind-the-scenes things that makes a show either good or bad. But if you can, woogame.online. Check it out, man. So number 5 was Taz and John Cronus. Number 4, these are 2 of my favorite people in the world. And one is Raven.
Quote the Raven, nevermore.
Who is my closest, dearest friend I've had in my life. The other is Disco Inferno.
So who's the perfect guy to be your friend? The Disco Inferno.
I needed Disco as a buffer, because 2 days into a trip, I'd want to kill Scotty. And he'd know I'd want to kill him, so he'd keep fucking with me. I had all kinds of weird stipulations riding with me because of my OCD. Like every stop, you had to throw out all your trash. There could be no trash in the car. So to fuck with me, Raven would never throw anything out. He'd just throw it in the back seat. And days in, it would be up to the seat level. One time, him and Scotty Riggs picked me up on a Monday. We were on different loops on that weekend, and they didn't throw out anything the entire weekend. I got up to the car, seen the trash in the back seat, didn't even say a word to him. I just turned around and got my own rent-a-car. I will not ride with slobs. In my car, under no circumstance could you ever piss in a bottle. The boys get lazy and don't want to pull over, and they would be drinking and want to piss in the bottle. That never happened in my car. I would not put up with that. I would fist fight you before you would piss in my car. So, and these are like, Kevin Nash was very similar to me, or I was very similar to him. Him and I both would take rent-a-cars on the road to car washes and shit, because we wanted our car clean. No one else I've ever met did that, you know. But Scotty and Raven and Disco, our conversations were never bad. We always had a good time, and Disco was the perfect buffer for me. Disco is one of my favorite people in the world. I've spent a million nights with him, and not one of them was ever bad. We've always had good conversations, and just, if I rode with them too, I know I was going to enjoy the ride, and it was going to go by fast. The difference between 3 and 4 and 2 and 3 is so small, but I have to put them in some sort of order. So it's not like 3 is way better than 4 or 2 is way better than 5 or whatever. Just these guys are my friends, every one of them. Their opinion matters to me, so I don't want to make it sound like I'm burying them, because I'm not, because I would have rode with any one of these guys, but I did have to put them in order. Number 3, during the beginning of my drug habits, I was having trouble making it to the arenas and stuff. I was potentially going to be a no-show because of my drug habit. I was very lucky that Eric Bischoff liked me. And he grabbed Sonny Ono and asked Sonny Ono to let me travel with him, to make it sure that I made it to the shows. And this is how Sonny and I became friends.
I've been helping him, shall we say, as his agent.
Sonny took great care of me, never stooged me off on anything I did on the road, and I'm sure quite a few nights he was horrified at what I did. So I would ride with Sonny and Kaz Hayashi.
But now he's going to have to face Kaz Hayashi,
who I feel I absolutely just corrupted to no end. Kaz was too young and too foreign to be stuck in a car with me, because I had no filter and would do whatever I thought of. And driving with Sonny, I knew that he would drive if he had to. So I had no second thought on should I do it or not. I just did whatever came to mind. And Sonny always took great care of me, and we developed a great friendship from that time. And Sonny is a person that I would literally do anything for, because he never complained about taking care of me or anything. And I'm putting him at number 3, and it would be Sonny and Kaz Hayashi, Sonny and Ernest Miller for half a trip. Ernest was very set in his ways, and I was very set in my ways. And I like Ernest to death. Ernest is awesome. But traveling together was a bit much for us, because Ernest was always late. And me, if you were 15 minutes early, you were late. So I left him in the middle, Charleston, West Virginia, in the middle of nowhere without a car one time for being late. And him and I never traveled together again. He didn't bitch at me because he was late, and I didn't bring it up because I didn't care because he was late. Sonny and Ernest for one trip. Most of the time it's me, Sonny, and Kaz Hayashi. Still to this day, I just recently rode to the Minneapolis airport, which is an hour and a half from my place, with Sonny. An awesome ride. We bullshit the whole time. We have great conversations. Everybody on this list is somebody that I consider to be a friend. If I traveled with you more than one time, you were somebody that I at least thought could be my friend, you know, that we could get along well enough. Every once in a while, you get stuck with somebody in your car you never drove with, you really don't spend any time with, and sometimes they turn out to be nightmares. And here's two occasions. And I'm going to talk about somebody's drug use, and if I out them on drugs, I'm sorry, but we're talking about 1992 or something, and if everybody don't know about then, shame on you, not me. One time in Memphis, John and I got stuck with Jeff Gaylord. Mid-South wrestler, very nice guy, never rode with him before. John and I frequently got pulled over for speeding because we had heavy lead feet, you know. Jeff was in the back, not talking to him. He was doing his own thing, and me and John were talking. When we got pulled over, and the cop came up to the side of the car, Jeff Gaylord was in the back seat, passed out with a fucking syringe in his arm. Gave himself whatever he gave himself and passed out in it. The cop was not happy. John and I were not arrested. We had no narcotics on us, thank God. We were sober and stuff, but Jeff did get arrested, and he never rode with us again. In Memphis, so a long time ago, Buddy Landell rode with us, awesome guy, and very smart around the business and everything, but that's not what this is about. We agreed to have him ride with us because we thought that we could learn something from him. We're just getting to Memphis, and we're pulling up to the Admiral Bimbo, and that's the hotel where we all stayed in Memphis. And I get this god-awful smell, something I've never smelled before. And I turn and look, and somehow Buddy has taken an empty can of soda, turned it into a pipe, and he's smoking crack. The first time I was ever around crack. And I didn't do drugs. I didn't do aspirin at the time. So Buddy never traveled with us again. Nothing happened from it other than the shock of him turning a empty soda can into a pipe. They weren't good fits with us. One time in Tampa, in WCW, the old hockey ice arena there, you could see the fucking arena, but all the streets were one way, and we couldn't figure out how to get there. And it was me and Raven in some car. So I couldn't take it. I went down the one-way street the wrong way. Getting pulled over with Raven is a horrible, horrible situation because everything's a vaudeville act with Raven. The cop tells me that I went down the one-way street, and I go, okay, and he goes, yeah, the wrong way. I go, I went the wrong way, and the cop goes, didn't you see the arrows? And fucking Raven goes, arrows? I didn't see the Indians. Next thing I know, he's checking through all of our bags and shit. And Scotty and I were never two people traveling without narcotics. And we're lucky that didn't become a bad situation. So even traveling with somebody that you do travel with, it could be fucking just something horrible could happen. All the years driving, all the miles I traveled, I've been in one accident. John and I rolled our car, a Cadillac he had, about 5 times on 40 between Memphis and Nashville. A semi-truck didn't see us, turned into our lane, and shoved us off the road into a ditch. We went through the ditch, hit the edge, and started flipping through the air, which the trunk opened up, and all of our gear and shit scattered everywhere. So we had to run back and forth across the highway trying to pick up our shit. That's the only accident I've ever been in. I've been in blizzards where me, Taz, and John going somewhere in New Jersey took us 9 hours because of the blizzard. We had to drive that slow. So that's why being with the right person is so important. And now I'm going to go to my top two groups of people to travel with. Okay, I'm going to get sidetracked one more time. I'm sorry. I know we're trying to go through this list, but I literally spent most of my career in a car with someone. So that's why there's so many stories. One time we had Nitro in Providence, Rhode Island, and the next night we were in Portland, Maine, which I think is about a 5-hour drive. I didn't get a car yet. I flew in, went straight to the arena. Just out of the blue, Lex Luger walked up to me and he goes, Perry, who are you riding with? And I said, no, I'm by myself, Lex. And he goes, you want to ride with me? And Lex has always been professional, very personable. Like, there's nothing negative you could say about Lex. So I thought, yeah, sure, this would be great, and maybe get a chance to know somebody that I don't really spend that much time with. I spent this ride terrified out of my mind. He drove, the slowest he might have drove is 120. And if you're a Seinfeld fan, you're going to appreciate this. He is a close-talking motherfucker.
What's he like?
He's nice, bit of a close talker.
A what?
He spent the entire ride leaned over in my face talking to me, not even looking at the fucking road. During the whole time he talked, I was going, road, 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 just trying to get his attention that way. And it's just Lex. Lex is going to tell you his opinion, and he's going to make sure you know it's his opinion. And there's nothing wrong with that. And what made it even more ridiculous is when we got to Portland, I got out of the car and Raven just pulled up, and he goes, P, who did you ride with? And I go, Lex. And before I could say a word, Scotty goes, close talking motherfucker. So that's Lex Luger. And I would have rode with him again. So it was just a strange situation. Like, he literally didn't look at the road the entire drive. And like I said, it's about a 5-hour drive, I think. We got there in 2 hours because he didn't drive under the 120.
We return you now to your regularly scheduled program.
And now we can go on to the rest of the list. Sorry, I got sidetracked. I do that a lot. This person I only traveled with a handful of times. If I would have traveled with him more, he might have been number one. And I always traveled me, him, and Raven. Kevin Nash.
Big Sexy's in the...
Kevin Nash was awesome to travel with. Anybody, if you get an opportunity to have a conversation with Nash and he's interested in having it with you, have it, because he's very interesting. He's very well spoken, and he's just fun to be around. And him and Scotty knew each other for many years, so they were closer. So it was just a good ride. And Kevin had some of the hang-ups that I had. Like, we both would take a rent-a-car to a car wash to get it clean. I got a Kevin Nash driving story that I think will be appropriate. And if it's not, Kevin, I am very sorry. But I think it would be appropriate to say, whenever we get to the hotel at the night, we'd take, a lot of the wrestlers would take a handful of somas. For some reason, Kevin and I were traveling together, and we took them at the building driving to the hotel. It was in Maine, for whatever coincidence. But it was a Marriott hotel on top of the hill, about 50 yards away. We could see the hotel. The somas hit us before we got to the hotel, though. Kevin pulled over because he was driving, and he looked at me, and he goes, P, I can't drive the rest of the way. So I go, okay, I'll drive. I don't know why we both went around the front of the Lincoln Navigator, but it took us about 30 minutes to get around this car. At the point of the hood where we collided with each other, we couldn't figure out how to get around each other. And some of us make it difficult to move, you shake and stuff. We finally got in the car. I sat down and I looked at him and I go, Kev, I can't drive, man. He goes, okay, I'll drive. And we fucking switched again. And he coasted up the hill. That night I had the soma shake so bad that I slept in the hallway outside of my room because I was shaking too bad I couldn't get my key in the door to get in the door. And I eventually passed out there. Me, Raven, and Kevin, another craziest thing that ever happened. It's not a driving story, but it's a road story. But we were in somewhere in Maine, maybe even, or New Hampshire. This bar had a bar clearing brawl. at least 50 people fighting. Guys and girls fighting each other. Kevin, Raven, and I were on the dance floor, and it looked like we had about a 15-foot force field around us. No one would come within 15 feet of us. And we just stood there watching the brawl, and I've never seen that big of a brawl to where I didn't end up involved. And we just sat there, and they just never got close to us. So that's probably 7-foot tall Kevin Nash too, you know. And Raven looks like he'd kill you for $20. And I would have probably killed you for $20 back then. But it was just a weird experience, man. Okay, let's finish my list while I got sidetracked. Okay, number one, like, it was really hard for me not to put Kevin and Raven at number one because it was just such weird shit and such a good time. But number one spent most of the time just me and him. And our personalities were the most compatible that I've ever been around. Dean Malenko and I.
It only takes one of 1,000 holds to defeat you.
I loved traveling with Dean. There was a couple years where over 300 days that year we were together in a rent-a-car somewhere. More together than we were with our families. I had nothing but respect for Dean. I was always extremely interested in his opinion, and I felt no one deserved my respect more than Dean. So every conversation I had with him was important to me. And he was my fucking friend, or is my fucking friend. We were just close, you know, good times. And Dean knew no matter what town we were in, he knew where the gym was, how to get there. All the boys would ask him, hey, where's the gym at? And he would tell them exactly how to get there. He just remembered that. So he was always, and back then we didn't have Google search or GPS or whatever. We used to have to carry them big atlas books where each page was a state and you had to look through the fucking thing to find your way. Dean knew exactly how to get everywhere, which made it easy. And we had such similar personality traits, like we've had 4 or 5 hour rides where neither one of us said a word to each other the entire ride, and they were some of our best rides. We also had times where I would think Dean is talking to me about something serious, and because I respected him so much, I would get very serious and get very involved in the conversation. And then he'd hit me with a fucking one-liner, and the whole conversation was a joke, and I'd want to kill him. One time he got me so mad somewhere, I pulled over on the highway and got out of the car and told him, that's it, we're fighting. What his ass did, he locked me out of the car and sat there talking shit to me until I wanted to break the windows in the car. And we were so good together, and just so much, you know. I caused a 10-car pileup once on the right by the Tobin Bridge in Boston. I was very high-strung, and was a very bad tailgater. Me, Dean, and my friend Mike were in the car together, and this guy cut me off, and so I beeped the horn. He flipped me off, which at the time infuriated me. I got in front of him and locked my brakes up, which caused him to lock his brakes up, which caused all the cars behind him to lock their brakes up into a big fucking collision. I got out of the car to kill the guy. I was so mad. His wife was crying hysterically, so I immediately felt bad and felt like a bully. I got back in the car. My friend Mike's eyes were this wide. Dean, without missing a beat, looked at me and he goes, do you feel better? And I go, yeah. And we just drove to the building. Dean and I were great together in situations like that. But yeah, I caused a 10-car pileup because I was a high-strung steroid user, and the fucking guy flipped me off and I went berserk. All right, guys, thanks a lot for watching this video. And if you can, please hit subscribe and like, because that'll help me get more videos out to you guys. And doing this video, I realized how many crazy road stories that I have. And I'd love to share them all with you. It just, I've had such a blessed, well experienced life, and it's cool for me to get to tell you guys stuff. I'm losing my train of thought a little bit here, but let's try not to swear at the camera. Please watch the videos we put out, and I'll keep trying to give you topics you're interested in. And if you send me comments and ask me questions, I'll talk about shit you want me to talk about too. I have no filter, and I answer to no one. So you're going to get my honest opinion. I just hope you're ready for it.